do, folks? How you doing? Just a quick one from the dark, and I thought I'd talk about this weather. I personally love snow. I absolutely adore it. But, and there's quite a but in here, when it's been snowing for 3 days solid, and the results are that ain't impressive. 3 days it's been fucking snowing. You can see a bit of white. I don't know if it's coming through on this picture anyway. Probably just lights. But basically the roads are absolutely clear. My speed hasn't even had to slow down, even though the temperature's -1.5 at the minute. It's been snowing for 3 days. Now, when I was a lad back in day, if it snowed for 3 days, you couldn't get out your fucking door. You'd wake up in the morning and it had been snowing in the night and it was 1.5 feet deep. And they'll have you believe climate change, but you should know by now that was a load of bollocks. And if you've been following reality, you'll know that the weather is being modified, manipulated or created, whichever you choose to believe, or all three. But the fact is, 3 days of snow. I'm not impressed, for one. I don't know about you guys. I don't know where you lot are, or if you like it that way. I don't know, maybe you do, maybe you don't. But when was the last time we had proper snow? I know myself, I was touring in the RV, and we spent 8 months in the woods in a border, not quite the border, but in between Germany and Holland, just on the Holland side. And we was in these woods by the permission of the owner. He says you can stay there as long as you want. Well, as it happened, the snow came, and by fuck the snow came. That was real snow. And I hadn't seen it for years and years then. And this is a few years ago now. So, never seen it here. Not since I was a kid have I seen it here. And I don't know what anybody else is thinking. I know there's folks from all parts of the country, or the landmass, should I say. You get up into Scotland and over into Wales, into those countries, and I bet you've seen some. And some parts, I suppose, of England. But it just seems to be wherever I am, there ain't none. Everybody's talking about the disastrous weather, and how what the missus say, because she always keeps up with the mainstream. It drives me fucking crazy. She's telling me the gossip. Oh, it's going to be -10, and it's a warning not to go outside because -10 kills people. I'm saying, shut up, don't give me that shit. But hey, more fear porn. But yeah, we have our summers where we're downfall of rain, and we have our winters, which is just basically shitty weather, and there's never any one way or the other really. It's just dirty weather always for us. I say it. You've always got to have your water squirters filling up in the car because you're always emptying them, and yeah, you never really get any weather when you can really enjoy. Well, I'm not whinging about weather, because if I was that fucking bothered, I'd piss off back to Cyprus, where the weather was always scorcho. But the fact is, they have their own issues, because the hot countries, the powers that be, the powers that rarely be, attack them on their front, so they're attacked on that. When I was over in Cyprus, there was a water shortage, of course, and it all started out by an explosion, of course, and that blew up the desalination plant, the only water plant on the island. So there was no fucking water at all, other than bottled water to drink. And yeah, you got tourists by the millions coming into the island who can't even have a shower. I mean, most of us locals just started telling them, just jump in your pool with your bar of soap and your shampoo, fuck them. But at the end of the day, they had no intentions of looking after anybody. They didn't give a shit. It's always to the detriment of the people. And then after that, there was the financial fucking collapse, which was the great test for what I presume is to come for everybody else, where they created a bail-in situation. They closed all the banks literally overnight, literally just shut. Everybody goes out the next day, try to use the credit cards. No, it doesn't work. What do you mean it doesn't work? The system's shut down. Nobody can get on to anybody on the telephone. The banks are closed. The cash machines are closed. Nobody can take anything but cash, and everybody's stuck on paying everything by plastic. Few folk have cash, but not many. There's no travel exchange places. There's no access to cash whatsoever. And then you've got an entire country, or you had an entire country there, absolute in desperation, just standing at the banks. It was bizarre to watch. For not just for hours, it went into weeks. It was like the families were taking it in turns. They was taking it in shifts to be stood at the queue at the bank just in case the door opened at any time, day or night, and refusing to leave the position in the queue because they'd lose it, and then they'd have to go right down the end of the street. And same thing with the cash points. People standing at the cash points like they're magically going to switch on. And exactly the same, people taking it in shifts to just stand there. Just people have got money, begging for food and anything they could get. It was absolutely bizarre. And at that point, it's just fucking make you do whatever they want. At that point, they tell them the only way it can open back up is if all the people give up all the money. Europe demanded that Cyprus came up with a £10 billion bail-in, and that means taking £10 billion off the people. And it's only a little island, and for that, Europe would give Cyprus, the government, back 100 billion. So take 10 billion off your people and we'll give you 100 billion, which went ahead absolutely smoothly. The people were just glad that the machines and debt situations were allowed to open back up, so they could start getting themselves into crazy debt, because now they've lost all their money and nobody's got anything, and the banks have took it all, pretendedly given it to Europe, and now Europe writing 100 million to the government. And once they get that, what did they do? They built themselves some lovely buildings. All the government buildings got destroyed and renewed one by one. They built themselves new estates. All the ministers suddenly got brand spankers, top of the range cars on their work as their work vehicles. And we're talking £100,000 cars, not just like nice cars. They all got holiday homes bought for them, and they got homes in the mountains bought. Everything went on, and it's all blatant there because nobody actually gives a shit, so you could see it widely open. But that's basically what went on. 100 million, 10 billion had been took off the people, and 100 billion had been given to the government for doing it. And out of the 100 billion, clearly they didn't give anything back to the people. And now you would think, yeah, cool, they'd do that deal and take that 10 billion back. But they didn't do it. And the reasoning behind it all, their excuse behind it all, was before that, a few years before that, Greece was selling some bad bonds, and Cyprus made a deal to buy all them bad bonds because they was insured by the European government. So because the government played a dirty trick, this is how it's sold to the people, because the government played a purely fucking fraudulent dirty trick, where men should have actually gone to prison for, but just because of that, the people had to suffer. And not just suffer, you're talking people went down to no fucking money. Millionaires went down to hundredaires. You got all your money took. Now, you think your money's safe in a bank? Not a fucking chance. Not a fucking chance. Your money ain't safe anywhere than in a fucking hole that you've dug. And I don't care what anybody says. Now everybody goes, oh, it's going to lose this and the money's going to go away, and that's it, you need to buy gold and silver. Well, that's what's being pushed massively, and if you know how you get manipulated in this world, by now you should be seeing how you're being manipulated like that. Now, I wouldn't say to anybody don't buy gold and silver. I used to actually advise folks buy gold and silver. But the reality is, how it's being shouted about now is just absolutely fucking ridiculous. Put everything you've got into gold and silver, because when there's a crash, that's going to be your currency. Bollocks, is it? It's your wealth. If you want to save something to put away and you'll have it after the fact when the prices of it has multiplied exponentially, yes, great move if you don't need it, and that's your wealth. But if it's talking about what you're going to need in the real world, if a collapse actually happened and all of currency was taken out of action, let me tell you what silver's going to buy you. For starters, silver instantly, if the financial system collapsed, would be worth the minimum of £600 an ounce. Gold, forget about it. You're talking thousands upon thousands upon thousands that will buy you nothing that you need. Now you think about silver in itself, you've got an ounce of this, you're going to go £600, and I should imagine it'll keep bumping up and be up level with gold very soon. And you're hungry, you've got no water, you've got no food, all you've got is a bag of silver coins. Now you're going to go to somebody, can I have some of that and I'll give you a piece of silver? Well, what am I going to do with fucking silver? Yeah, but it's worth this much. Not to fucking me, it in. Who do I sell it to? Who can give me that much for it? Money don't exist anymore, so what is it worth that much of? So you see my problem here. What you're left with is a solid metal that will be disappearing at a really fast rate, because yes, you will get some deals in absolute, but what you're going to get is, I'll give you a potato for your coin there, for your ounce of silver. You go, oh, it's worth this much. How much is a potato worth for an hungry belly? You're going to swap it, and before you know it, you've got absolutely fuck all left. All your silver coins went in your week of eating, and now you're left with no food and no silver coins and no gold or whatever you've had to swap. Because be it a gold or a silver coin, it'd probably still only buy you a potato in the real world if everything had collapsed and you were starving to death. Now, I'm not saying what you should or shouldn't do, and people are cryptocurrencies now. Yeah, there's some folks that use it wisely, and they dip in, they get some money and they pull it out, and they dip in and they get some money and pull it out. But then there's others that just leave it sitting there. Well, another quick story about Cyprus. A few years before the collapse, they did a stock boom. The stocks absolutely, they made literally everybody on the island multi-millionaires. Literally everybody. You could go and take your tenner and put it in tomorrow, and you'd be a millionaire the day after. And it just went absolutely stupid. So everybody was becoming millionaires, and they all left it in there, except for the real clever ones and the bankers who got theirs out of there. And then one day, without warning, as it was doubling, trebling, quadrupling, and everybody's going, no, you can't take it away. If I take it away today, I'm going to lose millions tomorrow. And then bang, it went, and there was worth absolutely fuck all, absolutely nothing left. I mean, Cyprus always getting it, forever and a day getting it, but folks don't realise when it's happening over somewhere else, it can happen to you just as bloody easily. And what they're about to do to folks over here is going to absolutely fuck everybody's life up, I guarantee. All these that think they're clever and think that they're safe because they've got a fucking bag of silver or a bag of gold, what the fuck does that buy in a real world where money doesn't exist? Think carefully, and then think about how you're programmed in this world, and how they work on you to get your perceptions to make you absolutely 100% sure you're making the right moves. And now think about how much you're being pushed to buy gold and silver. Think, always think. Not always about how good it sounds, because they can make things sound real fucking good. Just do your own due diligence, and it isn't about looking up at, oh, look how much money I can make. Think about the agendas, look at it from the other side. Now, I knew absolutely years and years and years ago I could have got in at the base fucking point of Bitcoin. Now, there was absolutely no point in me doing it with my mindset, because it's all fucking fake. You know damn well that there was only getting people used to the cashless society, and yes, I could have used that and said fuck them, but I'd rather try and wake folks up to it. I did try and wake folks up to it, but I either saw people were just absolutely ignorant to it, couldn't see it in them days, or were too greedy and were just after the fucking money. So folks chasing bitcoins and such like, it's down to you what your what your intent is, what you require. If it's money you require, then yeah, crack on. If it's what's right and wrong and safeguarding anything, you don't safeguard a damn thing with your Bitcoin when the system goes down, because so does your computer. You don't think for 1 minute they're going to give you internet when they take the system down. And the second the internet's gone, so has the information. And then when it opens back up on quantum computing only, every system was incompatible, and this great reset, and because of COVID and all of the things that's happened and the way the system got destroyed, we've had to just drop all that and forget it, and we just got to all move on. Put it under your head, or put it in a fucking hole and bury it and tell not a living soul. Nobody needs to know what you've got, and nobody needs to know where it fucking is. Least of all, the system. So anyway, folks, that's just a blah blah blah. So do whatever. I just thought I'd spit a bit to you. Enjoy. Have a good one. Ta-da.